Hey everyone, welcome back to the ultimate guide to building wealth and passive income in real estate. We've already covered what I call the slow flip strategy. It's a variation of the BRRRR strategy: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, and then sell, because that's going to help you increase your returns over time through the velocity of money, reinvesting your proceeds, and turning one property into 2, 3, maybe even 4 other rentals, ultimately allowing you to increase your portfolio significantly faster than if you just hold on to everything. So in part 2, we're going to go over some case studies on properties that we actually utilize this strategy on. And well, let's just check it out, right? Here we are, 2730 Mesquite. Now this property is very significant to us. My wife and I, this is the very first property that we bought in the Houston area. Shortly after getting married, I dropped the bomb on her and I told her that I wanted to get involved in real estate investing and wanted to flip houses, but we ended up buying this one, holding it as a rental. So thankful we did. And it was just fun. It was our first property. Everyone remembers your first property. So this is a couple pictures from what it looked like whenever we bought it. It was ugly. It was very ugly, and it smelled even worse. The pictures do not describe how bad it smells. As a matter of fact, there's some carpet over here. Actually, I think it was right on the other side of this wall. It had a massive stain. This carpet I don't think had been changed in 20 or 30 years. And they had at least one dog, but maybe even a couple animals that have lived in this house, and there was just pee all over the floor. It was disgusting. Jamie actually couldn't even stay in the house when I was negotiating the deal with the seller. She had to leave and go back to the car. It was that bad, but that's how we got a good deal out of it. Then we remodeled it. We actually did a rent-ready remodel. We didn't put on all the high-end fixtures. There's no need to do that for a rental property and of course you want to look at your comps. So essentially you want to make your property look like your comps, because that's how you're going to get that value and rent it as quickly as the comps, rented. So if all your comps do have granite countertops and hardwood flooring, you might need to do that too. But we didn't have to do that in this case. As you can see, very basic. Actually didn't even change the wood door here. Didn't put granite, black appliances. Didn't do an all-out remodel on this one. But we did remodel it. It did cost us some money because it was in such bad shape. Then we rented it out and then we refinanced it. But then, after a few years, this particular property, the appreciation was huge, and our returns, at least from a cash perspective, started diminishing rapidly. So we decided to sell. And we ended up having to go in and do another remodel. Here you can see that we improved the lighting, put new countertops. We put a white door in there. It doesn't look like we replaced the overhead and the dishwasher with stainless. Usually we do. So we got away with that, and we didn't paint the cabinets, but ultimately we were able to sell this house very fast. Sold first weekend, I think above asking price, or at least asking price, and it ended up being a huge deal for us. This is some pictures of the transition this property went. This is what it looked like whenever we went out there to buy it, or at least to get it under contract. This is a snapshot of when we had it rent ready. And this is the final professional picture whenever we ended up listing it for sale. So huge transformation. All right, here are the numbers. So we bought this house for roughly $85,000. Spent between the rent ready remodel and then the final remodel we did to sell it, we spent about a little over $65,000 in both of those remodeling projects. Not a small amount of money, but we cash flowed over a 3-year period about $14,000. The tenant, we had one tenant, he was great, stayed there the entire time, and then we eventually sold it for $237,000. Super amazing. I think the buyer paid cash for it too, so it made it even better. That gave us a profit of a little over $100,000. Not a bad deal at all. Now, of course, there's some closing costs that you'd factor in there, both from the front end and the back end, but it's about a $100,000 gross profit. This is a really good deal. But what do we do with that money? We didn't go out and buy a Lamborghini. We didn't go out and buy a boat. We didn't go out and buy a huge house or take some month-long vacation. Actually, I still had a job when we bought this property. I had a full-time, actually, both my wife and I, we were both working at this time. We took that money. We did buy ourselves something nice, but the rest of it we reinvested. We reinvested back into the business, helped us buy other rental properties, and this property specifically did help me transition to real estate full-time. Another case study, 5806 Hoover. This is the second property that we bought in the Houston area. Shortly after the first one, this one was actually a little bit cleaner. Well, it wasn't quite as messy of a remodel, but it was another one we were considering buying as a flip. Ended up keeping it as a rental. Very glad we did. This property, I believe, was HUD Home. I think it was foreclosed on from a previous investor that was trying to remodel it, and I don't know, maybe they ran out of money. But in any case, it didn't need a lot. It was very basic, and we just cleaned it up a little bit. I think we had to do a new roof and replace a window, and it doesn't look like we put appliances in here because we don't buy white appliances, but we didn't do a lot to this one. So this is what it looked like when we bought it. They did have like a stained concrete in the, I think throughout the house. It was like a stained concrete. We just put carpet over it because it's not really unique to that, or it was a unique flooring design for that neighborhood, and I didn't think it was going to go over very well. So we just put some basic rental grade carpet over it. Then we rented it out, and again, had a tenant in there. They stayed there for a while, and we've refinanced it and did that until we decided to sell. Then we sold it. So the transformation on this one was much more stark, considering we didn't really do much at all on the front end remodel. So this one, it was more in town and definitely needed a sharper look. So we put in nice granite countertops, stainless appliances, some laminate flooring throughout, and it made this house look really good. This is what the numbers ended up being: $80,000 on the front end purchase price. We spent about $36,000 in repairs. Almost all of that is on the back end, like the remodel whenever right before we sold it. Cash flow, again, this is over a 3-year period, about 12 or 13,000 almost in cash flow. We sold it for $224,000, which gave us a gross profit of almost $120,000. Of course, some closing costs on the front and back end be factored in there, but that is a huge profit. And again, we did not just take that money and splurge it. We always buy ourselves, when we have nice profit like that, we'll take 1-2 small little things, and it is fun to reward yourself when you get some good wins, some good successes. But just don't splurge it. Reinvest it. Reinvest it in something that's going to grow. And so we bought more rental properties. This is the last case study. That's 835 Forest Bark. This one was another one that it didn't need a lot. The picture there, I mean, the flooring was a little rough, but it actually didn't need a lot. They put in some new flooring, rehab, refinance, repeat. Here's the final picture. Looks like we didn't really do anything to the kitchen, except for we put in a microwave. And I think that's the original countertop. So yeah, we didn't do a lot here at all. Fridge, we got the fridge when we bought it. We left it when we sold it. So here's the numbers on this one. Bought it for $103,000. We only spent about $16,000 on repairs, which mostly is flooring and paint. And the cool thing actually on this one was the tenant, when they moved out, they moved out early. They did break their lease, which we wanted to actually keep this one for longer. But when they moved out, they cleaned it and it was spotless. It was essentially move-in ready. We had to do a couple little touch-ups. It was essentially move-in ready. So because of that, we decided, hey, why don't we we've held it for, I think, 2 years now. Why don't we go ahead and just put it on the market and see what we can get for it? So that's what we did. So almost $6,000 in cash flow, sold it for $157,000, made a profit of roughly $44,000. This one's not quite the home runs of the other two, but this is a pretty good deal. Because remember, these are long-term investments. So we're actually getting long-term capital gains, which, although we didn't do, but if you were to utilize like a 1031 exchange, you could have pushed all these profits and deferred the taxes potentially forever, depending on how long you wanted to do that. All right, so that's the case study. And the next part we're going to talk about is the actual plan of action, showing you what if you used this strategy from a very simple plan. What if you used it, and what would that look like over a 10-year period? And I'll be a little surprised that I hinted at in the very beginning is it does not take a lot of properties to retire a millionaire, retire a multi-millionaire. But we're gonna look at it from the simplest way, and then we're gonna, actually, it's all very simple. It just depends on how aggressive you wanna get with it. So stay tuned.